What you focus on grows. Feed them horses. 3 more pots coming at you guys. We're gonna get right into it here. We're not gonna mess around too much. We're gonna try to get it under 50 minutes today. It's in the morning, so I think, we'll see. If I talk a lot, then it's gonna take longer. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys over there in a second. Green off. I'm gonna take my fingers right up underneath this ledge. I'm gonna slowly look at my left hand and how that left hand is pushing forward. It's not pushing into the center, it's pushing forward here, right? I'm gonna slowly bring this clay up. I'm gonna swap over to camera A. Again, pushing that forward. I'm walking this up. I feel like one day I'd like to have like one of those lawn chairs with like the stripes that you'd see at like the pool, or like the beach. Obviously with a pottery wheel attached to it though. Could you imagine being reclined and throwing at the same time? I wonder if it would work. Probably good. And we're gonna try to do the twist a little bit lower here too, right? Kiss that rim. And what are we doing is we're trying to stretch out those moments on the bottom, so then when we go in for the twist here, it's gonna collapse lower. Okay, grab this outside. We're gonna swap over to camera B. Camera B. Here we go. And then slowly have some outward pressure. You can see how it just wants to slowly twist on up. Very gentle. And kiss that rim. Alright. There's number 1. This one looks oddly similar to the first one we did yesterday. That's kind of crazy. Alright, we'll try to make this next one look a little bit different. How's that sound, guys? You found your way through all these moments. You told us right now. Yeah, thank you. So that's just what I use to get some new water. It'll settle, and then I'll do that. You would want to work alone? Yeah, I think so. Shared workshops they're kind of a hassle, right? And like for me, I'm like you shouldn't ask any of the people I went to graduate school with. I think even though they'll say nice things about me, they'll also tell you that I was a menace when it came to community space. I kind of go a little bit I sprawl, and I make like a lot of stuff, and I think it kind of can prevent people from like wanting to access certain areas. But in my defense, I would say if you ask me, I'll move it right then, right away, no questions asked. You know what I mean? Like, that's always been my thing. But then their rebuttal to that is, we shouldn't have to ask to have that stuff moved. And I'm like, oh. It's kind of true. I'm gonna bring this up. The best way I can say the taste is dull, right? Like, it tastes like dull. It tastes like, those kids who would eat like pencils? I can imagine it. Like, the kids who eat pencils in school would be the kids who like to eat clay. Alright. I'm gonna slowly bring this back. Right to the edge here. Smooth out this base. I'm looking for about 1/8 of an inch when I'm down here, right? dirt bikes or four-wheelers. I'm kind of a four-wheeler guy. I think there's something cool about a four-wheeler, more so than a dirt bike. Imminent volcano incoming. I don't even know if that sentence makes sense. Anyway, llama, here we go. Camera B. Slowly, llama's gonna bite right on that rim, and he's gonna walk backwards, right? As that left hand is slowly pushing forward to get our volcano here. And why do we want this volcano is it's always a lot easier to get height when you have this top in control here, right? Everything above it's going to be a lot easier to pull up, right? It all starts with that base. So get that under control and it'll be okay. Might be a tongue twister, but you're definitely not alone. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Alright, color this in just a little bit. Alrighty. Do one more pull here. So again, I'm chilling out the base. I'm slowly pushing up and in, and then I define this bump. And that's all I'm doing is I'm just carrying this bump up. And I gotta be careful because I'm getting a little bit thin towards that base there. And I pulled this way too thin actually. I'm gonna get a lot of height, but chances are it's gonna wanna not collapse in a nice way. So, slow down. And stop. Allow it to make one full rotation. We'll give it another one just to be safe, and then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 6. And we're just trying to emphasize these lines because we want it to twist here. Here we go. So you're gonna see this one collapse in this middle here. Okay. I'm slowly bringing this top out. Calm down. Oh, kiss that rim. There we go. I think it's better when it's rotating. Yeah, you know, I think too, especially with the spiral, because it almost looks like it's moving. Like there's something that's kind of satisfying. It's almost like when you'd see like a barbershop spiral, right? It becomes a lot easier. That's also like one of the reasons like why I center so tall is I think a lot of times people struggle because they'll get this top perfectly centered, right? But the base won't be centered, right? And so then when you start working with the clay here, if this base isn't centered, right, it's going to be way difficult to overpower all this clay when you get down, right? So what I'm trying to do when I pull this all the way up like this is I'm trying to make sure I get this base kind of tucked in so there's less clay that I need to manipulate. Oh no. Alright, hold on. I just had that for too long. I gotta bring this down. So I'm trying to bring that base in so then it's easier for me to overpower that clay to keep it on center. When something like this happens, what you normally want to do is you want to make sure you get all the water off where that connection point is so it doesn't slide. So I'm using a little knife tool. I'm just going to push this down. Yeah, this clay is just not as stretchy as some of the other clays, you know? And so that's why I wanted to rip there. I was explaining for too long, to be honest. I'm slowly pulling the llama back as that left hand is slowly pushing forward, and you can see how I'm bringing that clay in, right? And it's weird because it's not that these hands are coming inwards, it's that these hands, right, if I have both my hands here, look at my palms, right? If I have them at the base here, they're coming like across almost, right? But as you're bringing it across, here, I'll show you. Camera A, wheel, wheel. So even though it doesn't look like they're coming across, they are. Does that make sense? Like it looks like you're bringing them towards the center, but they're coming across each other a little bit, right? But it just doesn't look that because it's getting more narrow, so your hand's kind of always sticking up here, but it is coming back. Does that make sense? Alright, I hope so. If you scroll down on my Instagram to the very bottom, you'll see a bunch of my stuff on there. I'm really thin at that bottom, so I'm kind of worried that it's going to tear, but again, we're just keeping this bump. All the way to the top. And then we're going to follow that centrifugal force outwards just a little bit. Maybe a little bit too tall. Alright. Ready? Breathe and stop. Let it do one rotation. One more. Slow that wheel down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 2, 3, 4. Just a dream. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right to the top. Ready to twist this down. There we go. Out a little bit. Kiss that rim. Camera B. Alright, so there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, so that means we'll have 6 pedals. Great. I think, I thought they were going to be a little bit better. I think the clay on that bottom was just a little bit too thick. So when I push it in, it didn't move as much as it should have, you know? What's up, guys? We're gonna do a pottery review. I think I'm gonna start by talking about these two, right? These I call my buffer trees, right? This bottom part is delineation from an older style of pottery I was doing, where I was just doing the twist all the way up. Very in pottery lingo, right? The twist here, or the spiral, that's what it is. But I think these ones both show that spiral a little bit differently. This is a more larger spiral, so I'm raising my hands up while moving the speed slower and slower, right? Keeping that pattern consistent, and so you get larger spirals here, where if I speed it up a little bit, right? And if I slow my hands down too, I can get a more condensed one. And so they both talk very differently. I'm actually more of a fan of the way this one looks in this instance. I think it's a little bit busier, but I also think that it needs to be a little bit busier because the pedals on the bottom, right? They're right at that bottom part, and they're not like reaching up past. Where this one over here, I have these two tendrils kind of reaching up past that like spot there. So it's no longer about that middle spiral. It's more about those tendrils reaching up. Where on this one, I think it's really about that density of that twist and the spiral going up towards that twist. I think this one is probably my favorite one of the day. And if you look up the twist on the top, you know, when the veins start twisting up on the treetops here, look how short this one is, where I had some more room, and so this one's a little bit longer. This one just feels a little bit more like lazier, or more squatty, or squeezed and squished, where this one kind of has a little bit more of an uplifting vibe by just extending that spiral, or that twist for the tree on the top, just maybe another inch, right? If I would have got another inch on this one, I think this one would have looked a little bit nicer. And I also think that I wish I could have got this one a little bit wider. This one is going a little bit past outside of that. If you look at it like a silhouette, it's pushing out past that cylinder that's in that base, where this one almost looks like it's almost totally in line, maybe just a little bit past it, where this, I think, yells out a little bit more. Anyway, we got the one on the top. We have some tendrils up there. It's a bottom twist. It's funny because that one kind of reminded me almost verbatim like the one that we did at the beginning of yesterday, so it's kind of like a deja vu moment. But I think this today is more about these two pots, but you always got to have the mundane to highlight the extraordinary. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, Straw Mentality. Let's wheel.